Welcome to InternetBizTV.com. I'm your host, Cartes Ross, and today we're going to talk about some more basic stuff that you will need to initially get yourself going. One of the things you will need, of course, when you start looking at getting a website, of course, is your domain name or your .com name. And another thing that you will need is what is called website hosting. And website hosting, you hear a lot of people say, I pay $19.95 a month for my hosting, or $30 a month, or $5 or $50 a year. But what basically everybody you will need hosting at one point, and this is just one of those things you really can't get around. Hosting, what is it? I'm gonna give you an analogy. Say for instance, if you were to move to another city and you moved into a house and you put all your furniture in there, and then the apartment gave you a number on your door, an address, and so that way if a person wanted to mail you something or come to your house, you would give them your address and they'd be able to come to your house, and once they get on the inside, they'd be able to see everything that you got. See your furniture, your TV, your clothes, etc. That's pretty much what website hosting is. It's almost like a storage facility. So all the stuff that makes up your website is all stored on this hosting account or on this server somewhere. And so that when if you give them your .com name, that .com name needs to be able to route these people to a place on the web where your website resides. And again, once they get to the website, they don't want to see a blank page. They want to see your products, your services, some video, some graphics, some text, an order button, phone numbers, etc. So all that stuff has to sit somewhere on the server, or a hosting account. So that way people can see what you have. And so essentially every site needs anyone who has a website will typically need some type of hosting. Now, you have some sites that claim they offer free website hosting, and in most of the cases, not true. They may offer you free hosting and they have ads running across your website, excuse me, at the bottom of your website, at the top of your website. They have pop-ups showing up all on the screen. And then again, you really don't own it. So avoid getting free hosting because it really cheapens you or your business. I mean, it really does. If a person, when they look at that type of stuff, they come to that site and you're trying to sell them a product, a $10 product or a $100 product, and they look at your site and say, if this guy or this lady isn't serious enough about her business, then why in the world should I spend my money? Plus, a lot of the scam folks or scam artists tend to ride off of these free websites. So it has a history of being, scammers, so you don't want to be associated with that. Now, hosting, there are a variety of avenues you can go to get it. There are plenty of sites that sell hosting for, you find something like $5 a month, $10 a month, $19.95 a month is what I find to be the standard, or $14.95 or $19.95. That tends to be the standard. Then, of course, you have some, I'm a strong believer. You get what you pay for. And the thing that tends to happen with cheap website hosting companies is no guarantee that your site is going to be up. At any given time, you can go there and the site's not up. I mean, they go down frequently, and that's what happens when you're dealing with a cheap hosting company. Another thing you run into, and let me explain hosting a little bit, because ideally, you want to get to a point where you have your own dedicated server. And I'll explain what that is in just a moment. But with hosting, here's what happens. When you go to one of these companies and pay them the $19.95 a month for the hosting, they put you on this server or this storage space with about 500 other people, all in the same storage space. So each of these people have their own little space, 500 of them, 300 of them, or whatever. And here's the thing. If one of those 500 people decide they want to go spam everybody across the internet, then what happens sometimes, that particular server or that storage space gets blacklisted. And here's what happens. If they, because each server has what they call an IP address. So what happens to different internet places or internet service providers, email hosting accounts like Yahoo, AOL, MSN, Gmail, etc., they'll block the IP address from getting through. So in other words, if you try to send email to anybody on those email addresses or those email accounts, your email will never get through. Also, you run the risk of getting banned or blacklisted from search engines. So again, you really don't want to put yourself in a position where you got 500 other people and you don't know who they are. But like I said, it's not one of those things, and that's why it's important that you get a good quality host, because a lot of these hosting companies, they manage that, they monitor that, and once they see that somebody's doing something they shouldn't be doing, they ban them, they throw them off. But when you're dealing with these little $3 a month hosting plans or these $25 a year hosting plans, you run the risk of getting yourself screwed. And the last thing you want to do is spend a lot of money, getting your business up and going, only for people not to be able to come back and see your product or service, your emails not getting through, et cetera, et cetera. So keep that in mind. Now back to the dedicated server. Now, a dedicated server is basically where the same place where those 500 people are at. Instead of 500 people, you are the only one on there. Now, granted, it costs a lot more money. You can find some ranging anywhere from $150 a month on up to a couple of thousand a month. So I don't expect most of you all to do that right away. I would suggest getting a regular hosting account. Like I say, just don't go to the lowest bidder, because you don't want that. Then also, a lot of times when you're dealing with the lower lower echelon of folks, you don't get the type of support that you'll need to help get going. So keep that in mind. But a dedicated server, you're the only guy on there, or lady, and you control yourself. You're not at the mercy of 499 other people who you don't know. And so keep that in mind. Build yourself up to the point where you can get your own server. And it's not one of these things you put in your house, in your basement or whatever. Many of these same hosting companies will also allow you to store your servers at their facility, and you're just paying for it. But that's what I would recommend. Build yourself up, make you some money first, make sure that your business is profitable. And like I said, we're going to start talking about that stuff a little later on. Build yourself up to that point. Don't do that. I don't expect you to. Matter of fact, I don't expect most of y'all to get to that point for at least a year. So don't even lose any sleep over it. We do offer hosting if you like it. Just scroll down below, click on the link, and again, we can help you get going in that direction as well. But in the next topic, we'll start talking about some websites, how you can get them for cheap and whatnot. So, but that's it. If you're watching this video from another website, feel free to come to our site at internetbiztv.com. That's www.internetbiztv.com. My name is Cartes Ross, and I look forward to helping you make a living from the internet.